Hi, everyone. Welcome to Builder's Mind podcast. It has been a month of break, and we're back with having Emil on the podcast. So, hi, Emil. Welcome to the Builder's Mind podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. I think we have talked about a year ago um, because we were part of Two Hearts, and then we connected there, and then I met you. But I remember the idea, and it's I think exactly the same idea since then. So, if you can walk me through of what happened, over the last year,
Mhm.
because I remember you were the solo founder back then, and you had so many issues, with finding co-founders. So, what happened over this 1 year? If you can take us for a quick ride.
God, yeah. If we've spoken when I was still a solo founder, it must have been over a year then. But yeah, it was a fairly difficult process. So, as a brief background to the product itself, the idea is really to automate testing in video games, and we do that with autonomous AI agents who play games, discover bugs, and generate bug reports. And it sounds fairly simple and simplistic, but it's not easy to pull off. So finding a technical co-founder who could really buy into the idea and who had the skills and knowledge required to build something so sci-fi, and at the same time the a cultural fit is a pretty tall order. But yeah, I'm really happy with the team that we have right now. We've built a wonderful relationship and a great friendship out of co-founding a business together. So yeah, it's been going quite well. It's been nonstop for I won't say the last 2 years. Really, we've been working really, really hard. But at the same time, we're very proud of our development. We're very proud of our achievements. We're just closing our pre-seed round right now. Um, Hopefully signing everything this week, literally. So yeah, it's an exciting moment for us.
Super nice. I mean, just going back a bit, is that how did you end up in the world of startups and entrepreneurship in general? Like, what
Mm.
happened to you?
Yeah, I think honestly, it started when I was maybe 13. I used to play a video game called World of Warcraft, and I realized at the point that I had quite a lot of knowledge about the game's economy, and I realized that people really did put value into the in-game items in it. So I started basically collecting and selling on some rare items in there, and eventually, I think this would have been mid 2010s. No, early 2010s. Sorry. I think I was making like $1,000 a week for a poor kid in Eastern Europe. That was pretty nice money, and um, I think that's what really gave me the initial spark about entrepreneurship. And I knew from a very young age that this is what I wanted to do. This is what made me feel fulfilled. Having that responsibility to build something from scratch is just, I found it incredibly exciting. So I did my first startup when I was 18, and I've done 5 in the past. And ManaMind is now the 6th one.
Wow, wow, wow. And so, kind of, how did you come up with the ManaMind idea? And were all the ideas, somehow in the gaming space as you were building?
Not really. I think something that was quite transformational for me was joining eWar as a pre-idea fellow. And something that they really pushed me towards is to work on my true passion. And that was a big departure from what I'd been taught previously. So gaming was obviously a very easy field to pick because I'd been a passionate gamer my whole life, really. I knew intimately what the problems were within the industry, and I figured, hey, I'm so sick and tired of getting extremely hyped up for a game only for it to come out as a trashy piece of software. Can I do something about it? And really, I think while a lot of entrepreneurs' emotions around their startups start with love and passion, mine started with disappointment and anger towards some of these games I was very passionate about. But yeah, in the end, I knew it was a valuable problem to solve. And I think it
Yeah.
was the right moment to do something about it because really LMMs, which is what we do, were just starting to become a thing. And the technology just got to a point where you can really take those repetitive and boring and time consuming and resource draining processes and automate them so that the game developers can really spread their wings and focus on the creative side while we take care of those less sexy things.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, can you just like, shortly pitch what Mana Build is? Sorry, Mana Mind. I don't know why I just like call it Mana Build for some reason.
Maybe we'll steal that, trademark it as well.
Yeah.
Right. So at the moment, what we are is we are a QA, so quality assurance
Yeah,
automation platform, automation player, if you will, for video game development.
yeah, yeah. And like, so like, is it, like, are you now able to have this, like QA for the games because of AI, or kind of like, was it also like possible to do it before AI? So kind of like how do you see the role of AI in this,
Mm.
the whole space now?
I think really studios for the longest time had two options. They could use manual QA testing, which can be of high quality, but will be time consuming, and so it's slow. Or they could use um, some automation tools, which would accelerate certain processes, but they wouldn't be scalable. So what we did is we figured out a way to marry the flexibility and quality of humans with the
Yeah.
scale and speed of machines to essentially create a system that is effective, cheap, and scalable across all types of genres, platforms, engines, you name it.
Perfect. So I think it will be nice to have a demo, kind of like like what you showed me, to see how that actually works in practice. If you
Hmm.
can play the video and then also like walk us through, uh, like how the magic works in terms of the backend,
Hmm.
and like what's the processes of this agents working together.
Certainly. So this is a very marketing style demo that we have, but it's really
Yeah.
meant to show a couple of snippets of how the system works right now. So this is the first layer of it, which is basically just the ability to play the game. It is crucial to be able not to just to play, but to execute any task within a game so that you can really test it. And when you do it, we have another layer that will look to spot bugs. We call that overseer. And finally, what you saw just a moment ago was a bunch of bug reports, which get created by our scribe agent. So really, when we say it's AI testing, it's three AIs working together in unison. You have probe that plays the game, overseer that spots the bugs, and scribe that generates the bug reports, test analysis, or whatever it is that you need. And that's how the whole system works with each other. And that's how we manage to automate the entire end-to-end process.
And so kind of like do you have the process, for example, like that you do like back analysis like before playing the game? Like kind of like show the obvious bugs first, and then like like the agents are like playing the game, and then like, you find in the game playing mood bugs, and then kind of like report it. So kind of like how does it happen? Like do you do the first process like back analysis, or like do you need to play the game to understand the bugs fully?
We don't, and that's on purpose. We don't do that
Okay.
because something that we have really been very disciplined about and that we have restrained our AI with is giving it any sort of access to the game's code, the game engine, game platform. So one of the terms that we use is that we do humane testing. And
Okay.
by that, it means we want to replicate a user experience as much as possible. So the only inputs that go into our AI are audio and video, which, if you think about it, is the same inputs that you or I would get if we were playing the video game.
Yeah.
And the only outputs that it would output are also the same ones that you or I would. So if it's a PC, it would be the keystrokes, mouse clicks, etc., etc. If it's a console, it would be the joystick commands. And if it's a phone, it'd be taps, swipes, you name it. That's exactly how it operates. And we plan to never give it access to these additional tools, because the moment that you do give it access to that, you're losing that essence of really doing testing the exact same way that the user would experience.
Yeah, that's actually the interesting part, because then it looks like, for example, like realistic, agent playing the game, and then kind of like it's more of like actual scenario. Because
Mhm.
if the AI has context, then it actually might like play the game differently than a human. But also, I think here also there's a bit of feedback loop for the user journey part. Like you debug, but also you kind of also like understand what's the user journey with the game. If like, there are some actually kind of like UI or like UX issues that could
Mhm.
cause like a bad experience for like the user. Because now like I'm dealing a lot with like user journey in my startup, and I feel this that, and like when you taught me, I was like, okay, maybe this also is good for like the user journey. So it's kind of giving you lots of insights on that.
It is, and it's great to see it operate as a user. We had a case maybe a month ago. We were testing a game for one of our partners, and they just had a. I'm not going to say who it is or what the game is because I'm not trying to throw shade to anyone. But they just had a horrible idea about how their menu works. The idea being that the only way to enter a menu was to press the right hand key, um, because the whole menu item was an arrow pointing right. So we were sat, myself, my co-founder, and the QA director of that video game studio. And we were just saying, listen, man, the menu won't work, and we don't know why. And then we played the bot, and the bot could figure it out. So we had to go and see what is it that the bot pressed to figure out how to navigate the menu ourselves. And that was a very proud moment. We were like, damn, it's really better than we are at this stage.
So like lots of my audience are actually founders or like tech enthusiasts, and they love to know, for example, how the agent works actually. So is it kind of that like you train your agent for each specific game, or is it just kind of like a generalist, player agent? If you can give some insights on that.
Yeah, so first of all, we have our own proprietary model, and we're the only company on the market that has trained its own proprietary model. Our competitors tend to use off-the-shelf models to do the testing. Now, the reason why we went down the route of training our own model, which is no easy task and it can be very, very expensive, is that unfortunately, off-the-shelf models cannot reach the level of quality that we aspired for. And we have benchmarked ourselves against all the big models. We benchmarked ourselves against ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you name it. We've never lost any of our tests against them. So we're very proud of it. Also, we didn't want to have to spend too much time or any time really customizing our agents for each studio or each genre or each game individually. So from the get-go, we were laser focused on it has to be plug and play, and it has to have the innate understanding of how games work. Now, is it perfect every single time you deploy it? Absolutely not. And I'm never shy of saying that. But it does get better with every additional game that it plays. And as it keeps playing more and more, it will get better and better, which, by the way, is the exact same process that we go as humans. And one example I love giving is, I'm not sure if you've heard of that game called Rocket League, which is basically football with cars.
Yeah.
Which is it's a weird concept. It's a very unique concept. I don't think there's another game like it. And the way I think about it is, you know what football is, you know what cars are. So because you have the knowledge from these games, yes, you were probably very rubbish when you started playing Rocket League, but you could figure out, what's the goal, how would I sort of do it, and it then came down to execution. And that's the exact same way that our AI learns. If you give it a bunch of FIFA data and a bunch of Gran Turismo data, it should be able to figure out how to play Rocket League because it has the context from these other two games, which are elements of the third.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that like you guys are actually, building your own models for this. And I think like this is kind of a big question for someone, like tech founders, because some of them, are building in a space that they could benefit, from like having their own models, like a small one. But then I think that, it seems very expensive, but also it seems like a long game. And also like there's a question mark of, what if the big, like players will get better in that like much earlier. So kind of did you have like some days to think about making this decision, like, to go with the you kind of like ready models or kind of like building your own, but also like, what were some of the conclusions that like help you actually go with your own model? Yeah, that can give tips to other founders to make their decision faster.
Yeah, something I always say about this is because we have honestly been praised for our decision to do it. But in reality, it was a very 50-50 sort of. We got lucky, really. We didn't know which way it would go because we could have built it and it could just as well not have worked. It was really a hunch. We were working with incomplete data. We didn't know up to what sort of quality we can reach with a proprietary model. But we decided we wanted to try it. And building your own model is a very, very difficult task. Especially ours is not small at all. We have the main one, which is, I think, 17 billion parameters, and the condensed version, which is 8 billion parameters. That's still fairly large. And in the end of the day, um, we just realized this is the vision for the product. What's out there from a tech standpoint is not going to get us to that vision. So we ended up building a lot of in-house tech, A, to even be able to train the model to begin with, and B, to find certain shortcuts, because again, training a model can be very, very expensive. And
Yeah.
we needed to be very scrappy, and we did it with very little resource, which we're very proud of. I can't really tell you how we did it, but I'm really, really happy that we did it in the end, because now we get to um, enjoy all the benefits from having your own proprietary technology. We know already how powerful our tech is. We know how applicable it is. It gives us a competitive moat as well. So there is a lot of benefits that we are now enjoying. But at the same time, we're also keeping an eye out on how are all the other models developing. Because
Yeah.
just because we've built it and just because it's the right decision right now, it doesn't mean that in 3 years from now it will still be the right decision. Maybe at that
Yeah.
point, general models will be just beast at everything, and we may have to abandon it and find something else to use. But something that we use as a guiding star is what gets us to that final version of the product that we want to achieve. And we will use whatever technology we can get or develop to get us closer to that target.
Yeah. I mean, like I know that kind of like you're a gamer, but then I think that like, you're not a technical person, so like you started business, yeah,
Hmm.
as a
Correct.
so kind of course, like you have the domain expertise of gaming, but then now you're going very deep into technology part. So like how like how is it being a CEO of a very technical startup? Like how do you like navigate the technical part of it? Because
Hmm.
like you need to know at least if you're not the CTO, but like you should have at least some kind of knowledge to navigate the process of building the business.
Mm. It's been it's been interesting, to be fair with you, because I'm not technical at all. I've never taken any technical courses. I've never written a line of code my whole life, other than I think we had to write hello worlds in high school back in the day. I think that's as technical as I get. Um, but I'm very open to learning, and also I'm very honest, and I don't have an ego that I need to defend. So I'm very happy to say that I'm the dumbest guy in the company. But also as a result of that, I have the most opportunities to learn. My co-founder is amazing. He's so smart, especially when it comes to AI, to ML. And I think I've just picked up a lot of stuff from him. Um, Am I technical? No. Can I build anything? Absolutely not. But do I understand some core concepts that I really have to understand? Absolutely. Do I think I know everything I should know? Absolutely not. Am I willing to learn every single day and get 0.1% better? You bet. So I think also in general as a CEO, no matter whether you're doing a tech startup or anything, you need to have that growth oriented mindset, which I'm very proud of. So I'm constantly learning. I think I'm signed up to like 4 courses right now. So I'm always spending, a significant proportion of my time learning new things, getting better, because I believe in compounding interest. So if you can be 0.1% better every single day, then yeah, you're not going to see much growth in the first couple of months, but a couple of years down the line, man, it really does stack up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love that. Yeah, you just like dive into the problems and kind of like the tasks, and then you just learn how to do them. And of course, you just like get perfect every day, like the small portion. I think that's kind of like the founder mindset, and that's kind of because it's more about like are you willing and like do you have the passion and the interest to actually build?
Mhm.
And if you have that, then like you will figure it out how to do that. I think like how to do that is easy to find out if you are willing to do that. So I think there's a strong will needed to push this. Um, as a founder. I mean, like moving on to the like go to market part, because I think like like when we talked about like connecting you with one studio, like gaming studio
Mhm,
back a year ago. So kind of my question is that how the sales process happens here, like are there is it like like a very direct sales process? Are there big players, small players? So how the whole sales thing work here in this space? I don't know much, to be
mhm.
honest.
We have a very set in stone GTM, really. Um, so the games industry, for your viewers, is a massive one. So it's bigger than music and movies combined. It's a
Wow, okay.
huge industry. And yet, if I were to tell you the movie industry or the music industry, suddenly, you imagine something huge. If I tell you the gaming industry, it doesn't really have that sort of reputation, does it? But it's really, really
No,
big. And despite its size, it's also growing with a greater compound annual growth rate than either of those two other industries. And despite all of that, it's still a very club industry. So everyone kind of knows each other. Everyone really follows what other people are doing. And we started thinking, okay, we know what is our way in with these people. And we realized it's really double A studios, because those are the studios that A, have some budget to allocate to tech. So unlike indie studios, for example, and B, they have a much smaller budget, but they still need to compete with all the AAA behemoths out there. So they're a lot more open to using innovative technology. For right now, we have not put any effort into sales whatsoever, because we're still very focused on the tech itself. So what we have been doing is some design partnerships, whereby we will give early access to our technology to select studios. That gives them competitive advantage. We also give it at a much lower rate than we would usually charge. But in exchange, what we expect of them is very brutally honest feedback on a monthly basis. And that is what is crucial for us to develop the technology in a way that is laser focused on delivering value to those studios. We're actually just about to open up 4 more slots for design partnerships. We're starting to deploy on new platforms that we haven't deployed to until now. So we're growing that. And that's also thanks to our hiring efforts. Now we have a bit more capacity. Um, I really believe that the product should sell itself. The way I explain it, really, it's a no brainer. So if we're hitting an issue with sales, by definition, it should be a product issue as well, because it has to be so good that you'd have to be silly not to take it on. You'd have to be losing money not to use ManaMind's technology. So, yeah, a very big focus on tech for now. We're not giving it just to anyone. We give it only to innovative studios that we believe can deliver value to us, which has also been kind of strange, because I've had to say no to a couple of
yeah,
really big names, felt so wrong. But I also realized, in that industry, you get one chance. And even if something's not written in a contract, if you disappoint someone emotionally, you're probably going to lose the chance with them. So I'm still keeping warm contact with them. But I said, you get the tech when you get it. I'm not comfortable giving it to you just now.
yeah. I mean, like I've seen lots of founders that they have this sense of rushing. Like they want to close the big names. Like they want to get the commitments, they want to get the money in. But like as I see you, like what you were saying is that you just like you seem very calm and like you don't want to rush. But to be honest, now like if you go on LinkedIn or like X, like wherever, everyone's rushing. Like all the announcements, new models every day. So kind of like, how do you keep yourself, so calm? Like, are you not out in the social media, or like you just like what keeps you, so focused on your like like journey, and like taking things better, stable, and slow, and kind of like more focused than like rushing it and closing more deals without having the model perfect.
So I don't think I'm not moving fast. I am, because it's an innate
Yeah.
part of me. I'm a racing driver as well. I've been racing since I was 7 years old. I've been
Mhm.
racing for 25 years now. So speed is a crucial, inseparable part of my leadership style. Um, but there is being fast and there is being hasty. And I've always really loved the saying, less speed, more haste. So it's not just about moving quickly, which is what I see a lot of startups doing, really.
Yeah.
Um, it's about moving hastily for the right things and being able to delay the pleasure of certain, because finding a big customer is a dopamine hit for any founder. You can't tell me it isn't. Um, and we're just trying to do it in a very sustainable manner. I don't want us to ever lose a customer. I want us to be that good that we're like a bad drug to these studios that, once they try our tech, they just can't live without us. And to achieve that, it simply will not happen if we hyper focus on sales right now. So we need to be able to delay our dopamine hit, focus on the tech while we need to focus on the tech. And at some point, hopefully it won't be too far from now, we will be able to make that switch, which is like, okay, now it's go time. Let's sell, 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 deploy, deploy, deploy.
Perfect, perfect. So like moving on to the like fundraising part, because I saw like you have raised 1.1 million some months ago. So that was an angel round, or that was like the pre-seed round that like you mentioned?
It's our pre-seed round. So it's $1.5 million, 1.1 million pounds. We're just signing everything through this week, hopefully. And that's really what's allowing us to grow the team. The majority of that investment will be invested in the team itself, because what we need is other amazing engineers like my co-founder to really accelerate our technology. So that also fits with what I was telling you about the GTM approach and about why we are focusing on certain aspects of the business now and focusing on others later. And actually, a big part of my time right now is spent on recruitment, because we realize how critical those first two roles will be.
Yeah. And like you guys are based in London, yeah? UK.
I am based in London, and the new people who we're hiring will also be based here in London. My co-founder is based in Austria, at least for now. So the tech team will be based in London, but our future ideas about fundraising are US based.
Yeah, yeah. And how like like the remote setup works between you and your CTO? Like, are you guys like traveling, or is it kind of all like remote for now?
We do travel to meet each other, be it at conferences, be it for co-working. Part of our recruitment process right now is also a co-working session. So he'll be traveling for that. We're also considering him and his wife moving here to London for that reason, because while I do believe in working from home for most organizations, I think when you're a very early stage startup, there is some magic to be unlocked by purely just spending time together. And I want us to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like my next question is about hiring, because now, also I'm hiring for like go to market. And, like before hiring, I thought it's super easy to hire people, like
Mhm.
you find them, you give them the task. But now it just feels like it's a very difficult process. But also like when you are hiring the person, then like you need to build a conviction. And the first weeks are lots of doubts of
Mhm.
what if, what if, what if. So what are like some of your tips or takeaways from hiring, like just like to share with others?
Yeah, I have very strong opinions on it. One of them is don't make compromises, right? I think it's better to not hire than to hire the wrong person, especially for early stage startups. Your first couple of crucial hires will be the ones that will set the culture together with you. So you want to make sure that it's someone extremely closely aligned. And that's not just in business, right? You shouldn't be making compromises in close relationships in general, like with your partner, for example, with your friends, and so on. Um, that's one thing that I feel very strongly about. The other one is make sure you have a really good process set up in place. Um, you can build a lot of um, structure around the way that you do your recruitment. If you don't know, if you've never hired before, we hadn't hired before. We took really a month to learn how to run the best recruitment process we could. That was basically all of December. I had a really fun Christmas. And surround yourself with the right people. Make sure that you're reaching out to all of your network to spread the word about your roles. And this is something that's relatively specific to us. It's not relevant to every startup, but we pay well. So we realize that we need top tier talent, and therefore we do pay a high salary. We do also provide an ESOP to really get these amazing people excited to work with us, not just on an intrinsic level, which is, it's easy to excite people to work at ManaMind because A,
Yeah.
you get to play video games and call it a job, which is really, really fun. B, we also have our main value, which is to be the most fun company to work at on the planet. So that is fairly simple, but you also want these first couple of hires to be really as laser focused on the business as you are. And to do that, you don't really want them to be worrying about paying their mortgage, about paying for their education or whatever that might be. So I don't really subscribe to that theory where other founders try to really squeeze every penny out of
Yeah.
recruitment. I tend to be quite stingy with spending, but that has not applied to recruitment, strangely. Is the one thing where I'm happy to spend a bit more to get the best people that I can.
And kind of like to build confidence, in someone's ability, like, do you do like, work trials, or like do you like give them some tasks? But I think kind of, like I give them some tasks, but then like for me, I get to know them more, like once they start working. So now, I focus more on like work trials. Like, sorry for asking and then answering your question, but
Mhm.
it kind of like what's your, like hiring like process, that are you doing like work trial, or like how do you do it, and for how many days you do it actually?
So we have a 5 round recruitment structure for these roles. Round number
Yeah.
one will be carried out. Well, first there is a screening call with the recruiter where the main things are checked, such as do you have the right of work in the UK, um, do you have the right skill sets, are you able to commit full time, all the real basics, so that we don't have
Yeah.
to do that ourselves. Then in the round one interview, it will be carried out with myself and my co-founder. We both have to be present for it, and that's what we call the DNA interview. That's where we check not for technical skills. We just make sure, would that person be able to work with us and have fun? And would we have fun working with him? So it's got to fit on both sides. You don't want someone who, you will just enjoy working with them if they won't enjoy working with you, because you want to hire for the long term. And for that, they have to feel professionally fulfilled and they have to feel happy. So
Yeah.
this is literally the only thing that we try to scope out in the first round is, do they fit with the essence of what ManaMind is? Second round is a case study. Third round is then just a technical interview and a case study follow up with my co-founder, with the CTO. And then we have round four, which is the co-working day. So with the screening, that's 5 rounds in total, but we consider screening round zero. And
Yeah.
that's how we recruit. I don't think in reality you can ever have 100% conviction before you hire, because at the end of the day, you would have spent a day and a half speaking to that person before. And that's not enough, really. But that's why you have things such as a probation period. And you have to accept that you will make mistakes because no one's flawless. So you
Yeah.
should have a probation period and you shouldn't be worried to use it if you've made a mistake. Because it's a much bigger mistake to keep someone who is not a fit than to replace someone who, seemed like a fit, but really isn't.
I have just like last questions, just like
Mhm.
short questions, short answers. Is that like I saw kind of like you were like looking for co-founder for some time. So like, what are some of the hell no, hell yes, like criteria for having a co-founder?
It's fundamentals, really. I think when Saptan and I got together, um, I wasn't a top tier CEO and he wasn't a top tier CTO. What we had was the willingness to endure a lot of pain to grow into that. Do I think I'm a top tier CEO now? No, absolutely not. But I'm definitely a lot better than I was a year ago. And he is also a lot better than he was a year ago. I think if there's the mutual respect to listen to each other, to hear your feedback, and to actually do something about it, that is something very, very special. Nowadays, it's so easy for people to get offended. And Saptan and I just have this policy of brutal honesty. We call each other out and we know that we never mean to offend one another. And there have been times where, we've had a pretty significant disagreement. Um, and I recall one time specifically in which I really told him, you need to step up your game in a very specific um, space. And he did. And he got so good at it that I now need to step up my game to reach him. And that is something unique because you can constantly push each other to do better and better and better. Um, And as a CEO, also, it just feels so fulfilling to see your team grow. And that's one of our other values that we have kind of stolen a little bit from Simon Sinek, which is that no matter who we hire, um, no matter how long they spend with us, we want them coming out of ManaMind the best version of themselves. That's why I said I'm doing a lot of courses. My co-founder's doing a lot of courses, and our team will be doing a lot of courses as well. We want to invest in their growth, um, and we want them to have a very transformational time with us, no matter how long that is.
Like, what are two of those courses that you take? I just got super interested.
Sure. I am taking elocution lessons actually, which
Okay.
is helping me pronounce words in
Hmm.
a more unique way. Well, I wouldn't say unique really, but in the correct way.
Yeah.
So I'm actually spending huge amounts of time standing in front of a mirror trying to perfect that sound
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the S sound and so on. So I do a lot of exercises for that. I am also taking acting lessons actually, which is both something fun, but believe it or not, acting really helpful for pitching
Yeah.
because I know that a lot of founders get very flustered by pitching to a large audience of investors. Trust me, if you compare that to doing a scene in front of 30 other people, it's a walk in the park. And
That's
it's one
true.
of the other things that we hold ourselves accountable. Actually, every Monday we have our weekly check-in call, which we hold ourselves accountable on three topics. What did you do for your body? What did you do for your mind? And what did you do for your social circle? So we try to keep ourselves accountable because we both kind of tend to hyper focus on business and we need to make sure that it doesn't become our whole life. Because I really believe that you can find things in other domains that you can bring back to startups and be better for them. I think racing has made me a better founder. I think acting has made me a better founder as well. And I'm sure that badminton's made my co-founder a better founder simply
Yeah.
because it's not about staying within your industry the whole time. It's about trying to find certain tricks that may not be common knowledge within your space, but that can be very applicable to it.
Yeah, because I was expecting, some courses on how to hire, how to be a good CEO, how to do the finances. But actually, these two courses are so important because I see that, in my day-to-day job, but also in other startups now, like being able to speak well, being able, to actually act and kind of like communicate is so important because I think like now, all the founders, they have to have their own personality, their own brand. And if you look at, the top CEOs like Jensen and all other kind of like people, they're actually a very good actors and like very good speakers, and they kind of like communicate and like they have this body type of move, and I think that's like something to learn. And I'm sure that they took the same courses many years ago, or like they were forced to take them because if you reach that level, you really like need to like have those skills. So I really love hearing these two courses. So my next question is that there's so many ups and downs. Like when things are good, we work extra hours. But like when things are, down, we just like start, having some self-doubt, some down moments. So what do you do in down moments? Like who do you talk to? Or like what do you do to just, hype yourself up again?
Actually, it's another course I've been doing, which is called the Founder Mental Fitness. And something I've realized is my whole life, I've been chasing certain goals. Um, and those goals, the way that they work, it's an adrenaline hit every time you achieve them. Unfortunately, adrenaline wears off very quickly. It's at most a couple of minutes um, satisfaction that you get from it. And I really realized that when I got accepted into Oxford. Now I put so much effort and I studied for 6 months, pretty much nonstop. I got my acceptance letter. I was happy for like 90 seconds. And I was like, okay, now I need to figure out my college, need to quit my job, need to figure out where I'm going to live, need to figure out when I'm going to fly. It's just, one thing after the next. And that's something that you know, it does have benefits for a founder because it just laser focuses you on the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Fortunately, it doesn't really allow you to enjoy your successes. And something that was very profound for me, because I'm a racing driver, there is this Formula One driver called Fernando Alonso. And
Yeah.
he got asked a couple of years ago, what is one thing that you regret within your career? And he said, not enjoying my world championships enough. And it just made so much sense because when he was a world champion, he's got two of them. So either the first or second one, it was always about the next year. How can I secure the next one and the next one and the next one? And now it's been what, 15 years or 20 years for him without a championship. And he's saying, oh man, I really wish that I actually enjoyed that moment. And I think that's something that every founder should train themselves to. You're gonna go through ups and downs. This is part of startup life. There is no startup that is only ups, ups, ups. You may read about the ups, but there's definitely downs all the time. So you need to move your mindset from an output based happiness to an input based happiness. What I mean by outputs are all these achievements. I raised a round, I hired the right person, I signed this and that contract, which you cannot guarantee. You're never going to be able to guarantee that you hit those things. To an input one, which is, oh, I worked really well today and I was very productive. Oh, I nailed this podcast. Or, oh, this sales call, it was amazing. And appreciate also, especially if you're in a venture-backed startup in the current environment, it's bloody hard to raise money, especially in Europe. I think in the US it's much easier, but in Europe it's very, very difficult. So learn to appreciate that you've done something that a lot of people haven't managed to do. And that was really transformational for me, because I realized, I wanted to have my own startup that is working on a very difficult, professionally fulfilling um, problem since I was 13. I'm 32 now. It's been 19 years it took me, but I am
Yeah.
actually living it now, and I wasn't enjoying it. And now I'm trying to be grateful for the fact that I am going through this journey. And I hope that the startup is very successful, but I cannot guarantee that. I know I will do my best because that's where my happiness comes from. I know that every day I wake up and I'll do my best. I will never do 99%. I'll always do 100%. And that's where my joy comes from, that I'm working on this and that I know if it doesn't work out, I will be able to die with the knowledge, yeah, it didn't work out, but I did do my hardest. I fought tooth and nail for it. And there wasn't any additional percentage point I could have squeezed out of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's a very good takeaway because like I'm trying to kind of like learn that myself. And of course, like I try kind of do like 120%, but then kind of like not like, like worry too much about the outcome. Like, I mean, of course, like thinking about the output, but then also just enjoying the input, as you said. And it's kind of like very nice wording from you. And so, and also like you gave me some food for thoughts, like to I'm gonna flag this week. So my last question, because
Mhm.
now we see like we're going more into like philosophy talks, deeper talks. So last question is that what do you do on the weekends, man?
God, I'm gonna sound really boring. Lately, it's been working, but actually, just recently, like the last 2 weeks, and I've been very proud of it. I've managed to reconnect with some of my old joys, which I was just going through some personal challenges that really sucked the joy out of anything I could do.
Yeah.
But I built Legos for the first time in 6 months, and I love Lego. So I think I'm gonna go with that answer, or racing when it's season. It's not started yet; it's starting in April. But either racing or building Legos or socializing. I'm very, very social. I love being around people and surrounding myself with other amazing humans, and they energize me. So that's what truly gets me ready for the next week.
Super nice, man. Very nice chat. And you see, kind of, I'm just like smiling because I got so many good vibes from you and really enjoyed this talk. So thank you so much. And like hope to see you also in person, but also wish you all the best with building a startup, but also kind of like being yourself and kind of like being the founder. And then, as you said, like inputs matters most, but also like the outcome put if you put the right input. So thank you so much. And yeah, hope to see you soon in person as well, man. Cheers.
Same. Take care. Cheerio. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.